We're back in Investor Town Hall's headquarters in San Diego, California. I'm your host, Daniel Wong. On today's program, we have CEO of Project ICO, Steve Hyduchak, back on the program with us today. Steve, thanks so much for taking the time.
Thanks, Dan. Great to be back.
Steve, so we had you on last time. You're talking about a lot of different things in the ICO world, and you've been very busy and working on quite a few different things. But what we wanted to do is get your opinion on how organizations can utilize smart contracts and code to build and shape their organization in a really interesting way.
So these are some really cool things that clients will ask us to do, and this is a new space, so there's no real precedent. And knowing these things, it can really help benefit everybody. So to be a truly decentralized, autonomous organization, you really need to have all facets of the community incentivized to participate. So these are things that our clients are building in, whether that's auditing the protocols on the script or for marketers, incentivizing them with bounty programs. Incentivizing people to participate to arbitrate issues, and they're all rewarded in your ecosystem. And if this is a subscription-based model or has real utility value, this will go either against their monthly fee or allow them to get something in the community out of it. And this is really going to drive the benefits of blockchain, not just ICOs, because blockchain is so much more than that. And this is something that is going to save consumers costs, it's going to save companies margins costs, and we're all going to win. So these are going to really lead to those truly community-driven organizations and autonomy.
And we've talked about this before, is that everyone's so focused on the ICO and the coin rather than the underlying blockchain and smart contracts. That's really the important thing, right?
Right, and that's what a lot of these protocols are now shifting from. We're seeing a flux of ICOs and the capital that it brings in, and it's great. But it brings a lot of attention. But blockchain is so much more than that, and we're seeing that whether that's from supply chain to healthcare to banking, and all these sectors are benefiting from using this ledger system, from using this community-driven voting mechanisms that you can have and consensus rights. And these are all really cool things that are going to truly change the way everybody interacts and does business.
So right now, ICOs are exploding, right? Everybody's doing an ICO. What are some of the weaknesses and things that you're now seeing? Because obviously with an influx of all these, they can't all be, great ICOs. So why are some of these missing their target raises and missing their deadlines?
Right, and that goes back to the first question, Dan, and we are starting to see some companies missing their targets. And that's because, now you're not just being able to, the first one, to say that, oh, we're launching an ICO on the Ethereum blockchain. Our idea is the original. Now there's multiples of that, and it really goes down to what value are you bringing? You're asking the blockchain community to fund you, but what aspect of the blockchain are you going to utilize to serve your customers? And that goes back to what we spoke about with these autonomous organizations, and making sure your token economics are geared properly is just so important. And that's the allocation of the coins, or whether that goes to founders, marketing. How are you going to build your brand? And people also want to see that. And why would I want to buy your token as an investor or participate in it? And those are things that you really want to tie in a utility function to for the long term. And if a potential client has to kind of hard sell us on the value of their token, we usually say this is something that needs a little fine tuning, and to go back to it, and we can definitely help consult in that.
I think that's a great point to make, and it's very valuable for investors and for the companies there. We just had Amy Wan on talking about token economics and why it's so important for people to understand the utility function. You said, is there a real need? Is there a real problem they're solving? And why is there value back behind this token? This also brings us to, we just had some news come out the other day about PlexCorp and the SEC coming down and dropping the hammer. Talk with us a little bit about why you think they did that and some of those characteristics, because I think that kind of takes in token economics, as we were talking about.
Right, and seeing that was cringy, and it was frustrating because most ICOs aren't out there to deceive people and take advantage. And when you have a coin like PlexCoin, which was offering 1,000+ returns without a white paper, this is something that is just, this is making a bad name for all of us, and this is why regulators are coming into this space. And this is why we're deciding to do what we're doing on our personal project here on our own. So, we said to ourselves, these companies are asking the blockchain to help them raise money. So why aren't we utilizing the blockchain to ensure that everybody's protected here? And now with some of the best legal groups behind us and using NEO's source code to do so, because they adhere to a lot of our values and our mission, we're going to be digitizing legal agreements. So we said to ourselves, what makes something legal? Why can't we take this piece of paper in our hand, put this through a code in a smart contract, and people can transact every day with each other, and building in identity protocols? So specifically for the token sale, KYC and AML, we're going to be able to verify if they're accredited investors, and then they're going to get a wallet to even participate into the ICO. So this will say to regulators, we've gone through all the standards that don't even exist yet, but adhering to securities laws. And now we're going to be able to show even the participants are thoroughly vetted. There's no way they can get access to it unless they had gone through our vetting process and were issued this wallet or smart card. And this is something that really excites us. And we're going to be using the blockchain and NEO's code to do so.
Talking about NEO, what I really like about them is they're really paving the way and setting the standard for compliant-based token sales. Elaborate about what NEO's doing and why it's so important for the industry right now.
And that's why we were so excited to be part of their ecosystem and use their source code. Their values adhere to ours so closely. From the get-go, Ethereum has become a sea of weeds, not intentionally, but there's 1,000 ICOs on there, and it's just so hard to navigate. NEO from the beginning has set a gas standard where in today's current valuation is about $10,000 to even launch a smart contract onto their main public net. So this says right away they don't want to just be an ICO pumper. They want to be a blockchain that's compliant driven, and they want to be a blockchain that brings value to their investors and their ecosystem. And that's why we chose them to do this project.
Steve, those are great points to make, but looks like that's about all the time we have for today. We want to thank the CEO of Project ICO, Steve Hyduchak, for coming on the show. Steve, thanks so much.
Thanks, Dan. Thanks, Lenny.
Everyone, that was Steve, CEO of Project ICO. If you want to find out more information, go to ProjectICO.io. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Twitter and Facebook, and catch us next time. Stay tuned for the next interviews here on InvestorTownHall.com.